Caught me off guard. Good evening, everyone. It's 8 o'clock on the 9th of July, which means the summer's halfway over, which is one huge hard kick in the crotch. It's never ending. Time marches on. So we're here on the pulse. This is where you're supposed to be. Then you're in the right place. If not, doors to your left. Thanks for coming. Bye. So we have a couple people running late tonight because of weather. I don't know if it's up or down from where you're at in Maryland. So we're going to start, and then we're going to let them jump in when they get on because that's the kind of guy I am. So before we start, everybody starts with a monologue. So I was going to start with my monologue. And just so everybody knows, and keeping in tradition with my show, The Conservative Corner, my monologue will have nothing at all to do with the show. Not a thing. Completely random. I was going to do it on Sunday, but I'm going to do it now. So there it is. All right, here's the opening monologue. All right, buckle up, folks, because we're driving into the wild, lawless jungle of the highway, where the most heinous crime of our time runs rampant. Idiots who don't use their turn signals. You're zipping along, jamming to your road trip songs when poof, some rogue in a minivan teleports into your lane like they've just cracked the code for quantum time travel. No blinker, no warning, just pure chaos. You're white knuckling the wheel, screaming, "Who raised you? Was it a pack of wolves?" I mean, what is this nonsense? That little stick next to your steering wheel, the one that moves up and down, it's not a chopstick. It's not a magic wand. Harry Potter didn't put it there. It's a turn signal, you idiots. It's literally the easiest move in driving. There you go. I just did it. Flick it, click it, done. But no, half of the drivers out there, about 48%, according to a 2013 study, are out there treating their blinker like it's a curse. Are they allergic to it? Did the car manual say, hey, don't use that all the time, just use it on Sundays? I need answers. Need them now. It isn't just annoying, it's a highway betrayal. We're all out here doing high-speed trust falls at 75 miles an hour, and those blinker bandits are like, nah, not feeling it. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says bad lane changes cause thousands of crashes a year, many because someone couldn't be bothered to signal. Thousands. That's cars smashed, tempers flared, and me yelling and cursing and screaming and giving you the finger across my dashboard. For me, that's the therapy sessions. For others, it's what the hell's wrong with that guy? So who are these culprits? We've got the phone zombies texting their novel while merging blindly. Then there's the fast and furious wannabes. Too cool for signals because, bro, I'm basically drifting. And don't forget, I'm just one exit away guy who thinks his blinkers are on coffee break. Spoiler, your exit doesn't trump my fender. We got to stop this madness. Cops could slap fines $50 to $200 depending on the state. Car makers could make cars that scream, hey, asshole, use your blinker when you swerve. Or we could just, I don't know, shame them. Next time you see a non-signal, or roll down your window and toss him a post-it that says blinkers are free, use them. I'm trying to keep it PG. But seriously, let's lead by example. Flick that signal like you're conducting a symphony. Be the blinker hero the highway deserves. Because if we keep letting those bandits run wild, driving is going to feel less like a road trip and more like an episode of Mad Max, the reboot. Just my opinion. It happened to me today going to work. It's like nobody has turn signals anymore, and they drive like this. And they use the force. You know, the light side and the dark side. So that's just please use your signals. That's all I'm asking. Me and everybody else on the road. I just got to use your signals. I've already started ranting, and we just started the show. You know it's going to go downhill from here, right? All right, let's get in with the hosts that are here right now. Like I said, we'll bring in the others as they get here. So my co-host for right now is the Hammer, Damon from Jersey.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Seth.
How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I feel better now that I got that off my chest.
All right.
I hope. And then we also have the always lovely, always talented, and you'll understand what I'm about to say, our judge, Elena Barbera. Your Honor.
Thank you. I respect your turn signal request. I always use my turn signal, just so you know.
That's why I like you. That's why I like you. And that's also a good thing. You don't hurt people. People get hurt when they don't use turn signals. They just come over. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But thank you for using your turn signal. I appreciate it.
You got it.
So, right, like I said, Alexandra's caught up in traffic with the weather, and our guest is in traffic with the weather. So as they make themselves available, we'll bring them on. But for right now, you're stuck with us. Sorry about your luck. Don't know what to tell you. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Texas. I don't know if anybody's heard about it. And if you haven't, that means you live in the woods and a tree stump and have no electricity. They were hit with massive flooding. I mean, like ridiculous amounts of rain, crazy flooding. I don't know if any of you have seen that video on YouTube or on Facebook, the time-lapse video of the river that went from like a trickle to like an ocean in like 30 minutes. It was insane. I think over 100 people now are dead. At least they're saying they're still missing, the 27 campers. I think they said they haven't found the girls from the camp yet. And of course, get this is going to shock both of you. They're blaming Donald Trump. It's his fault because he's taken money away from NOAA or the Weather Channel or whatever he's done. They've taken it's his fault. Which, like I said, if a dog gets hit in my neighborhood, someone in my neighborhood's blaming Trump. It's getting out of hand. But do you think Trump's to blame? And if not, or if you do, why? I mean, I'm sure both of you don't, but we'll start with Elena. Do you think Trump has anything to do with any of this at all?
No, I don't think Trump's to blame. I think some of the initial reports that came out that were saying that weather warnings didn't go out, they were very quickly disproven, and weather warnings had gone out. So, if there were any shortcomings because of what, federal cuts, I haven't seen them yet. And to be perfectly honest, so I'm open to hearing about them and hearing the details on them, but I haven't seen them. So what bothers me, though, is that even before this conversation started being had, there were people posting blaming him. So it's not even really when they blame him, they don't even necessarily have any sort of detail. They just blanket blame him. This one doctor that's outside of Houston, her name is Christina Probst. She put up a tweet, and she's a pediatrician, by the way. And this is at the time when we still had dozens of children missing from Camp Mystic. She wrote, "May all visitors, children, non-MAGA voters, and pets be safe and dry." Kerr County MAGA voted to gut FEMA. They deny climate change. May they get what they voted for. Bless their hearts. So this is essentially wishing hell on anyone who voted for Donald Trump and crapping on the fact that they were, frantically searching for little children who died a terrifying, hellish death in the middle of the night without their parents while their they were at camp. She's since been fired from her job at Bluefish Pediatrics, but she should lose her medical license. Somebody with that level of cruelty and that kind of disregard for humanity is just a sicko, and who has no business practicing medicine. This is what we're up against.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't there it used to be an oath doctors took that started off by saying first, do no harm?
Yes, the Hippocratic Oath.
Yeah, do they still do that? Or is it now optional? Can they go, I don't want to do that today?
I don't think it's taken as seriously as it used to be. Look at what they do to children with experimenting with them with transgender treatments.
Exactly. All right, Hammer, don't hurt them. What do you think?
Well, first, before I go off, I'm going to say my heart and prayers go out to the families, everyone in Texas that lost everybody, or even that didn't lose anybody. And I want to thank the first responders and everyone that helped out, because that just showed what true humanity is about. Yeah. And do I think Trump's to blame? Maybe he is, because he was born and decided to run for president. That's the way the Democrats look at it. I mean, absolutely not. He is to blame. I saw this coming a couple months ago. I was watching MSNBC, and there was a news anchor on there, and he's delivering the weather. And I didn't really know what he was talking about at first, and until I had to look it up. He said, well, I'm not going to be able to deliver the weather to you like I usually do, because all these cuts from Trump's administration, I'm not going to be able to do this, that. And I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? So I started looking into it, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, they're setting it up right now because there's always going to be a natural disaster. They're waiting for one to happen to pounce on it. And I thought about it back then. I'm like, well, what else is going to happen? That is always going to happen at some point. And they're waiting for something to happen and blame it on Trump because they made cuts. But everything is completely further from the truth and disproven whatsoever because the alerts went out on time. They showed they were overstaffed at the time. Their own union backed it up. I mean, but the sickness of the left that had to come out and use that. And you mentioned that pediatrician, more than fired, more than lose their license. I'm not even going to say it because then I should be fired and lose my license to even drive because it's a sickening human being to even do that when a pediatrician and blame girl. Those girls didn't vote for Trump. I mean, what the hell are you talking about? And so what if her parents did? And you don't even know if her parents did. I'm sure there are some Democrats in Texas, by the way, but it's like, you just jump to conclusion right away and say that. That's a sick human being.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I can't imagine if God forbid something happened again, like Hurricane Sandy when it hit New York, and all those people died in Queens, and Staten Island, and within the city limits and beyond. But I can't imagine saying good for them. They deserved it. They're just liberals anyway. Like I find it really. How I see the world as a battle of good and evil. I now that I've seen it, started seeing it that way, I can't see it any other way. And this woman epitomizes the dark side.
Oh yeah, and such as her, and so many other people out there. I mean, you see it on social media. You see people talking about see all of the just white Christians, and it's like, they had nothing to do with it. So what if they were white people? And it doesn't matter. They were people, and that's as torn as our country is right now, and that's as messed up as it is because the only reason is because everyone's, the left is driving a wedge and everything's racially motivated. And when you gaslight a lot of people and you just keep letting this happen, people will believe it and they will go down that route. And they're accomplishing that goal. But the only good thing is, I would say, is there are a ton of good people out there. And I know a lot of people like you and I and Seth and everyone else, we know it. And it's going to make us fight even harder to get this country back on track and not even listen to those disgusting people out there that say those things. Because I don't care if they're black, brown, white, it doesn't matter. People died and they were children. Hands down, that's it. And you don't politicize that. And I can't stand when Hakeem Jeffries and other people just blaming Trump and all the other Congress men and women and senators and blaming Trump. And like you will stand on the backs of dead children to get a vote to get elected. That is just disgusting. And then everyone listening right now, I hope there's a lefty listening. If you want to get on there, I doubt it. But either way, talk to your lefty friends and tell them that's exactly what they did. They stood on the backs of dead children to get back in power. That is the most disgusting human being ever.
Well, before we get into the next bit of news that Texas has spewed forth for the rest of the country, let's bring in Scott and Alexandra, who just made it in from the horrible, horrible weather.
Thank you guys. Sorry I'm late.
It's okay. We were talking
Jewish
about
Standard Time, everyone. Jewish Standard Time.
We were making fun of both of you. It's okay. You can watch it. When you watch the show back, you'll see it.
I don't know. By JST, you should have been early.
So we're getting ready to talk about the 10, and I'm going to call them inbreds, that were charged with attempted murder or plotting the murder of a federal agent in Texas. Let's bring up that picture and look at these stellar human beings. And this is from Tim Fazenbaker.
So I'm flaccid. There's not enough blue pills in the world to get me excited about these guys.
All right. If you look at the top row, third one in, that guy in the middle, he looks like Shrek.
No, he does.
The minute I saw him, I thought Shrek. My God, he's ugly.
Are all of those girls actual girls, or are they?
I don't know.
I think the one on the far end is a trans.
I thought I heard. Yeah.
A couple of them are
trans, right?
I think the bottom one on the right looks like a trans with the curly hair.
Mm-hmm.
And then that second one on the top from the left looks like it, between Shrek and what's his face, looks like a trans.
I mean, it's obviously you don't have to be trans to have a mental illness that makes you want to attack an ICE facility and kill federal officers, but it certainly is probably gets you there faster. having another pre-existing mental condition.
Yeah, I talked about this on my page. I blame the Democrats and the media for the swing in violence against police officers and law enforcement, period, across this country. They portray them as evil. They print about them being like SS and Gestapo, and they don't stop it. They keep it pressed to the ground, and they keep pushing that narrative. And this is what happens. I blame them. 110%, I blame them and nobody else.
Those alligators at Alcatraz are getting hungry.
Feed them.
I have a suggestion for a snack.
So let's start with you, Alexandra, since you just got here. What do you think about these inbred knuckle dragging mouth breeders?
I think it's disgusting.
And the role the media plays.
Yeah, I think it's disgusting. I 100% agree with you, Seth. I mean, it is the Democrats that force the rhetoric that the police are the Gestapo, ICE agents are Gestapo, comparing them to modern day Nazis. I mean, that rhetoric alone is what's causing a lot of this crap to happen. And that's why President Trump is doing everything he can to make sure that that Democrat socialist doesn't become the new mayor of New York City. Because if he does, there'll be no law and order in New York City. And it's not just going to start in New York City. It'll expand to other liberal states and other counties nationwide as well.
What do you think, Scott?
I mean, I was not surprised by the appearance of a single one of them. And I know nobody goes into their mugshots, with an hour of television makeup on, but seriously, I mean, I doubt there's a single bachelor's degree among them either. Just such a waste.
I'd be surprised if there's a full set of teeth between them.
Yeah.
True.
I'm just so sick of people like this. It's common day. It's common play now. Every day.
Well, these are the people that their counterparts are getting creamed in Europe. You see plenty of, despite the anti-Semitism going on in Ireland, you're seeing a lot of protests about immigration there, as well as all over Europe, where people are fed up and they've had enough. These people are going to get. It's coming here, where people are going to have enough, and they're just going to take things into their own hands, not necessarily in a vigilante kind of way, but in a self-defense. So they're going to see something happening to ICE, and they're going to, rally with them, because they're going to come for us next.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. Elena, what do you think?
Obviously, I agree with all of you. This has been 10 years in the making. That off the top of my head, it's probably been longer in the making than that. But 10 years ago in the Baltimore riots, and since then, all the cops that got killed in the Dallas riots, the defund the police conversation has been a long time. So now we've escalated it to defund federal law enforcement. That's all. It's just the next phase. What are we going to do next? Try to break down the armed forces and fight them and abolish the Army and the Marines. They'll never be happy. These people, they don't like law and order. We've seen that from them. These are the same people who stopped, who decided to decriminalize theft, decriminalize rape. Somebody gets caught for rape, they put them right back on the street after their court date. No bail, nothing, just go free, little bird. Assault, all of it. They now want to legalize prostitution. Law and order is the enemy of their agenda. And so it doesn't surprise me that they did this at all. 10, 15, 20 years ago, I would have been surprised by it. Today, it's like, oh, yeah, whatever. This is what happened. One local law enforcement officer did get shot. He's okay. He's in stable condition. And as of yesterday, and I couldn't find an update today, as of yesterday, there were actually one of this crew of 10. There's an 11th who's still on the run, but I'm sure they're all going to fold like lawn chairs and they'll catch him.
Oh, yeah. Before I go to you, Damon, my father's a retired police officer. He worked in PG County for 20 years. And if you're from Maryland, when my dad was a cop in PG County, it was literally the Wild Wild West. It was no man's land. They actually at one point had the most active SWAT team in the country was in PG County. They were active all the time. And back then, and I think one of the big differences back then is there weren't cell phones, so people weren't walking around shoving it in cops' faces and doing all that. Back then, if you got lippy with a cop, you got your ass kicked. There was no let's talk about this, sir, please step away. They dragged you to the vent in your dashboard, out the hood of your car, and they broke their nightsticks on your head, and then they left. Difference is back then, the bad guys fully expected that. They weren't surprised. They weren't shocked. Oh, the cops caught me. They kicked my ass. That's the game. I lost this time. Maybe next time I'll win. Flash forward to today, cops are more social workers. They're more party planners. They're food delivery. They are not allowed to be police anymore. And you can see that if you go to any major city. Crime is ridiculous. My point is, we need to have, for lack of a better term, mouth-breathing cops. We need that heavy cop that doesn't take shit from anybody. And when he pulls you over, you know you got a 50-50 shot of losing teeth or driving away healthy, depending on your attitude. If you give him lip, you know you're going to the hospital. And he doesn't care how the report reads. He'll write it however he wants.
Even if you go back to the 60s, though, when you have Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young with 4 dead in Ohio, I mean, at Kent State, these were people that were burning down ROTC offices and beating up ROTC cadets. I mean, FAFO, right? But so I don't think it's so much different. You still have the Weather Underground then too, and you still have their relics who indoctrinated Obama running around today. I don't think it's necessarily too much different, but I agree we need the cops that are going to stand up to this. You see so many videos now on reels that pop up. Ridiculous. If people, I think their only job is to go around and say that they're doing a FOIA request or they're independent journalists just to go places to piss off cops. And I want to see the end of these videos. I want to see them crying in a fetal position with the handcuffs on. But you never get to see that. So
my question to you, Damon, is I'm sure you agree with the media is to blame. But what part does society play in that? What is our responsibility when it comes to this kind of thing? How should we be approaching it?
Well, I'll run it down for you. Number one, I don't care what they look like, how many teeth they're missing. Doesn't matter. I know people that look worse and have less teeth and have better understanding of life than they do. But it comes down from the top. Well, I'll start at the bottom. How about parenting, number one? Okay, bad parenting. They should be paying attention to their kids and telling them not to pay attention to all this stuff. And I know you mentioned media. Well, I'll go with the policing. Now, the police, who are they controlled by now? They're told to stand down. You can't do this. You can't do that. And they're demoralized because when you arrest somebody, they know they're getting out of jail. It happened to me on a job about a year and a half ago. It was a crazy lady. I was just walking down the street. I was going back to my job site, and she threw a police barricade in my head when I wasn't even lucky I saw it in the last second. And she was just out of it, on drugs and everything else. And a cop was like right there. Came up, and thank God he grabbed her before I did. And he said, "Do you want to press charges?" I'm like, "Well, what's going on?" He said, "Honestly, if I take her in, she'll be out tonight. There's no reason." I said, "Well, I'm not going to waste my time to press charges on her. If she's and leave work and all that stuff, or miss a day work in court. If I know she's going to get out." He said, "I'm just being honest with you." So that kind of demoralizes me to even follow through with it. So there you go with the police. You can let them loose, but not. You know what I mean, to a certain extent.
Right.
Yeah, because I remember when I was younger. Yeah, when I stepped out of line. It was a cop in the neighborhood. I grew up in Philly that knew my family, and he would beat the shit out of me. And I would go home and tell my dad. He'd be like, "What'd you do wrong?" So, and that was it. So, and then it goes even higher than that. And I will get into the media and everything else, and even further. So the media, they spew these different narratives, and people watch it. And what I mean by media, even more in this case, is social media. When you look at X and Facebook and all that, everyone is connected to seeing everything that they see on Facebook and X and so forth. And if you look at, there's so many things that are trending on X, spewing that like anti-Semitism or Palestine, whatever it may be. But if you look at it, it's all controlled by even higher. You have people that want to destroy this country, and there's no other way you can slice it that You want to indoctrinate kids in college to go up against the best country in the world, to give them these opportunities and these freedoms to do these things and push them even further. And these are elected officials that do the same thing. And you see, elected officials say, well, I don't condone violence. However, I understand where they're coming. It wasn't right that Luigi Mangione killed that guy, but I understand where he's coming from. It just
depends on the context.
What's that?
Remember with the professors at these colleges, at the liberal colleges, said it depends on the context.
Oh yeah, it depends on the context. Yeah, exactly. So they're saying it without saying it and letting it go. So there is a bigger structure out there that wants, the only way you destroy this country is from within, and it's coming. And if you look on X right now, you look at all the bots, and it's out there. You can read all about it. I'm sure you guys already know about it. If anybody out there listening hasn't, but there are so many bots on X, and you see all the likes that they're getting like crazy. They're blowing up. The count went from nowhere to somewhere so fast. And even I heard about Grok today. I was actually listening to another podcaster. I don't want to give him credit, even though he's good, but no, it was Ben Shapiro, and he brought up Grok, and the first time I heard about Grok having these AI issues, but I already knew that AI is only as good as it is. It goes where it's taught to. So if Grok, created by X, uses X's platform to gather all of its media, and when Grok answers a question, it's going to answer it based on what is trending. So if you have all these bots out there saying the same thing over and over again, then AI is going to give you that answer according to that. So when you have bots saying that Israel is horrible, creating atrocities across the world, and they're committing genocide, and all these bots from other countries that are created, and most of them coming from other countries, same thing. And it's the same thing that we're seeing these kids look at, and they're indoctrinating them that way now. So that's a big thing to look at in the future, and we could have a really good episode on that. But I'll end it with that. I went from top to bottom, so have back at it, Seth.
Cool. We got to pay the bills real quick, and I'm empty, so I got to fill up again real quick. So we'll be right back after this promo.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
That was a quick one. I almost tripped going to get my drink. Before we get to the next episode, I just got to say, I get on these kicks. Sometimes I'm on a soda kick, and I got to have soda. Then it's sugar-free soda, so it's not really soda. Or I'll get on a beer kick, and I got to have a beer. Or I'll get on a whiskey or tequila, whatever. For the last week, I've been on a chocolate milk kick. You would think I'm pregnant. I've got to have chocolate milk 4 or 5 times a day. I don't know what it is. And I know people say your body tells you what you need and you eat it or drink it, but I don't know what it is I'm missing that I need to be having it. I'm literally I went through 2 gallons of chocolate milk this week. I don't know what's going on. It's scary. Okay.
Rest in Pellegrino. I've been on a Pellegrino kick for about a year now. It's wonderful.
I'm gonna have to try
I love Pellegrino. Oh my God.
I've never had that.
Oh my God. I buy this by the case.
I love it.
See? Chocolate milk. And did you know I read somewhere, I think it was 30% of Americans think chocolate milk comes from brown cows.
I used to think that.
It just can't be true.
I used to think that as a kid.
All right, so let's get to the next segment here. The Epstein files that haven't been released yet. Honestly, I'm not surprised. There's so many people on both sides of the aisle that would be destroyed. They're never going to come out. I don't know why anybody's shocked by this. And it's not because Trump's in office. It could have been any president who's in office. They're not going to let these out. It's going to be like pulling teeth. I would like him to come out, but I don't think it's going to happen. All right, let's start with you, Damon, since I made you go last twice. You can start us off. What do you think the future of the Epstein list is? What do you think is going to happen?
I'm going to say at this point, I don't care. To start off, because you can look at it in two different ways. If you want to look at conspiracy, and it's conspiracy theory at first, and then there are conspiracies out there. So when you get the answer that you just received, then you can either dive deeper and say, I knew it was conspiracy theory, and to go deeper in the hole and stay in your lane with that, because it does sound like it could be. Or you just say, you know what, I just have to believe what they're telling me, because you had the Biden administration in there first that had all the files, and now you have the Trump administration that has all the files, and they're telling you this. All I know is I wasn't there on Epstein Island. I didn't see what happened. I didn't see his laptop or any list or anything like that. At what point do you have to just say, I'm going to take it how it is? It either is a conspiracy or it isn't, but we have to move on. It was an atrocity. I'm glad Epstein's dead. Whoever killed him, whether they were in on it, either way, thank you for killing that man, because he's a disgusting person. But that person should be found one day if they killed him, or he just committed suicide. So I can live with that at this point right now and move forward, because I know I can't change it at this point.
Whoa. How could you say it might be a conspiracy and not even true, and then be happy that he's dead?
No, because what's her name? That was with what? I'm drawing blank on her name.
Maxwell.
Yes. So she was convicted.
Yeah.
Only on that he was the only one. He was the only one that she worked with. So that proves him guilty, because that she wouldn't have got the proven in the court of law. That's why she was convicted. There was nobody else mentioned in that court case whatsoever. So that tells me, yes, he did it. And plus, he made all these deals in the past. So, I mean, everything leads that he was definitely guilty. Now, I don't know if anybody else was involved. If there was, they need to go too. Absolutely, 100%. And God forbid if Donald Trump was involved. I know he was implicated by not a witness, it was just one of the girls mentioned Clinton, Trump, and all kinds of people. Then she was disproven because she lied about a bunch of different things afterwards. So there's so many things out there that you don't know. And everything led to them looking at it that way, and everyone believed that there was something. Even Dan Bongino and Kash Patel. Now, these are two guys that really wanted the truth really bad. So it's either they wanted to know, and now they're there, and they're telling you that it's not. So it's either you believe that all the people that said that they want to know what it is and believed it was conspiracy theory got in there to actually have access to that information. And then just all of them just said, you know what, we're going to go and flip and not and tell lies like everyone else is. It's possible. You think J.D. Vance and Trump are the same way? I mean, we elected them. They were on our side thinking it was a conspiracy. We wanted to know the truth. And then all of a sudden they get in there and say, oh, no, it's bigger than that. So we're going to lie too. That's a possibility. But then you have to come out and say that they're all liars, that they're lying because there's something they're trying to hide. But why would they want to put it out there? So both sides are still feasible. I don't know. So at this point, I'm not going to care about it anymore until it comes out, because there's nothing I can do about it. That's it. You have to realize that. And I think it was an atrocity. I really do. And I think we needed there. You could think that about Trump, and Vance and Pam Bondi and everybody else that just got in. But if you really think that, you have to come out right here, right now, and say, you are the liars. You're lying. You're a conspiracy theorist too. You're part of the conspiracy, just like everyone else. And then what do we have left? So you have to choose one or the other. And if you think that, you can come out and say it. And that's perfectly fine. But just say it. Say what you think. And I don't know what to think. If it's that way, then I would say, then it's all lost. But I have to have kind of hopes that they wouldn't do that they would actually come out with the truth in the files if they were there. But I wasn't there to witness it all. And that's all I can say. I can only go no further than that. But you guys can follow up. I'll listen to what you guys say, and you say something else, and follow up later.
All right, Elena.
I am wildly disappointed in that press conference yesterday in both Pam Bondi and Donald Trump. Donald Trump saying, I've been a supporter of Trump from day one, from the first day he went down that escalator. I have nitpicked his and explained Agenda 47 during the campaign to try to convince people to vote for him. I got people registered to vote. It's not like I don't support him, and I haven't celebrated all of his wins, and I won't continue to. But him dismissing that as unimportant yesterday in his tone and in his words was stomach churning to me. Stomach churning. This is about children, young girls who were raped repeatedly. And to turn around and be like, oh, we're still talking about that? Come on, give me a break, people, was sickening. And I am not the only person who feels this way. If you spent 5 minutes on X today, there are a lot of us who are really disappointed and really disgusted. Now, and for her to be like, oh, no, there's nothing really to see here. Like, I don't know. I'm not an investigator. But if I were there, why wouldn't they just, if there's nothing in the files, why wouldn't they reopen the investigation? Why wouldn't they have the flight logs? Why wouldn't they go back to all the pilots, to all the crew, to the ground crew, to the chauffeurs pulling up the limousines at the private airport, and to all the maids at all of who were there, who were working at his Paris property, his New York property, the island? I mean, why aren't just off the top of my head, those are all people that should be questioned and interviewed. And if they've already been interviewed, re-interview them. This was an atrocity. And I'm grossed out by all of Washington today, because it just feels to me and millions like me that he's just protecting the elites in his, and I don't want to go on too long, but like in his Agenda 47, one of the things that he said was he wanted to make the death penalty mandatory for human traffickers, right? So that's okay if any one of us traffic humans, or the people coming across the border, the cartels, if they're trafficking humans, death penalty for them. But if you're a king of industry or a congressman or royalty, you don't even get a slap on the wrist, never mind the death penalty. So I'm disgusted. I'm turned off right now. Now, I don't hate Trump, but I am turned off.
No, Elena, just real quick, I'd say that is a very good point that they should reinvestigate. Yes, they should. And sorry, I missed that part. But yeah, they definitely should. But I was just saying, at this point, we don't know. And I felt the same way when Trump said that. I'm like, why does he put it that way? But then I thought about it. I'm like, well, I wasn't there. I don't know. What can I change? Do I either believe them or do I choose not to? And I still don't know. But it's like, how do I move forward from here? It's either call him a liar and everything's done, or do I try to figure out a way to do so? It's either I have to call him all a liar and believe that there's no control over it, or do you have to believe that it wasn't a conspiracy and Epstein was a scumbag by himself?
I'm not getting into calling them liars, but I'm definitely disgusted by the morality that I saw yesterday, being dismissive of children getting raped, and a potential elite pedophile ring is hideous to me.
What do you think, Scott?
I agree and disagree with some elements of both. First of all, I would say, yeah, I mean, we can walk and chew gum and do a whole bunch of different things at once. But in the grand scheme of priorities for what's going on right now, as well as in the Trump agenda, the Epstein files are pretty low on that list when you talk about national security and the border and our alliances and conflicts going on in the world right now. What's going on in Texas. And I think to an extent, Trump may be dismissive of it, not so much in the way that it's not important at all, but in like he's said in certain press conferences recently where people have asked questions, for example, and I know this press conference kind of had that as one of the foci there, but like when people are asking questions about Canadian tariffs when he's just brokered a peace deal with Rwanda and Congo, that's the wrong time to ask those questions. And I think that I'm sorry I missed the initial talk about the flooding in Texas, but there are other greater priorities right now. It'd be interesting to find out about that. I do want to give credit to Rob Carson for his thoughts this morning, where he was saying he found it very interesting that the Democrats are not complaining about Trump not giving us the answers, or the administration not giving us the answers at this point. I do believe that Trump, promises made, promises kept. I don't think there's any promise he's not going to keep that he can't keep, unless it's outside of his control, for example. I think it may come around to that coming out, but I do find it highly suspicious that the Democrats have, especially people that have been scrutinized about Epstein in particular, have not come out and had any problem with the fact that suddenly this information is not there. Another thing I'll say is, having, and you might agree with this, Seth, too, having held a TSSCI clearance for 20 years, sometimes there's things we don't have the right to know or the need to know, or it may just not be at that time. This information may come out later, and as Bongino and Patel have stated previously very explicitly, is that they're not going to let things out until all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. So the jury proverbially may be out on this in the future, but I agree with the first point that this, in the grand scheme of things, this really isn't important to me. Not that the kids aren't, and the trafficking, which is still going on, thanks to the flooded border, largely in particular in this country. But I do find to have it fully suppressed, to me, would be an issue. But I'm equally interested in finding about, or more so, about RFK and JFK and King and even aliens.
You're equating aliens with child rape?
No, it was no. Okay. I'm not equating. It was tongue in cheek, but I'm saying that everything that Trump has said he would do in one way or another, he's kept his promises. So this is going to come out.
I just have to, I know you want to move on, but I just have to say real quick, if all of that is true, and you're correct, and about the priorities and your opinion on the priorities, is, I understand, what he could have simply said that. He could have simply said, this is extremely important issue, but right now we're focused on X, Y, and Z, and here's why. He was dismissive and condescending about these victims, and that was disappointing. Go ahead, sorry.
I think he was condescending about the victims. I think he's condescending to the press as they are to him, and he's also got to some extent think of an answer on his feet, which often he does very well. But no one's completely infallible, and not making excuses for that. But again, it's like there may be things that he can't say at this point, and there may be national security thing. Just because people have a clearance doesn't mean they even have the right or need to know. And everyone likes to think that they do, but there are things that they don't know about it, including the timeline and other factors dealing with security. So I have to trust that, having been on the other side of it, knowing things that I did that the public didn't at certain times, and sometimes it became declassified later, and other times it didn't. But it made sense to me when I was in the know, why that was the case.
My friend Donald Willinger, he asked, is it possible that things were withheld in order to get the big, beautiful bill passed? That's an interesting point. That is an interesting point, because the one big, beautiful bill was something that, President Trump wanted to get done before 4th of July, which he did. He made that timeline.
I think if that was the case, he would have leveraged the Democrats who were on that list to say, you better vote for this. So I don't think he held it up, because if he did, it would have been a bipartisan bill with Democrats voting for it, because they would have been
freaking out,
blackmailed as they've been for the last few decades.
Well, there are some theories out there that that Trump does have the leverage here over the deep state with his allies because of this. Also, there are a lot of things that are classified that we are not privy to. There's things that Pam Bondi sees, that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino see, that they're not going to indulge the public with that. They're not allowed to, because a lot of the stuff is classified. And President Trump, I'm sure he's seen a lot of stuff too. He's not going to delve, or divulge to the mainstream media, to everyone, because a lot of those things are classified as well. So that's that point. But I think that President Trump has a lot more leverage here than what the other people are on X are saying. I think there's a lot that we don't know. I don't think that President Trump is just going to poo-poo this and put this aside. This was a huge campaign talking point of his to remove a lot of these human traffickers and sex traffickers and child traffickers. And he's doing that now with Thomas Homan and Kristi Noem, DHS. And that's why, it was important for him to pass the One Big Beautiful Bill to expand DHS and to expand ICE, so we can, protect our children. And he's also working on the fentanyl crisis.
To your point, Alexandra, I mean, to your point, they may be on the cusp of arrests or certain aspects of their investigation, just as the FBI and CIA do. And if they blow that cover by saying they're zeroing in or this or that, then they're going to tip off the people that they're going after.
No one's asked for that.
No one's
asked for. The American people are smart enough to know that if an investigation is going on, you don't share details. I mean,
they're not smart enough. They ask it all the time. They ask it. The press asks it. They feel they have the right to know.
I didn't say the press was smart enough. I did not say the press was smart enough.
No, but people online, everyone feels that they have the right to know the inner workings of an investigation that's ongoing and active. They never said that this was closed. So if they're zeroing in on somebody, the last thing you want to do is tip them off that you're getting close to a solution. You want to give them this false comfort so that they let their guard down.
But the fact remains that Donald Trump and Pam Bondi and the way they handled that in the press conference yesterday has turned a lot of stomachs. It hasn't turned people like me against him completely. I count all the wins. I'm happy. But when I tell you I talked to hundreds of people today about this, online, on the phone, in text, and they all feel the same way, like just turned off by this because he did not show a compassion for caring about children in a moment when he had an opportunity to. And he has a PR problem now. That's
fair. But what did Trump say what happened when Trump said that he was going to give Iran, he was going to give 2 weeks to come up with a decision about what to do with Iran, and he did it within the next 24 hours. There's strategy we're not aware
exactly.
of. And if we're wrong,
what do you suggest he does about this PR problem he has though right now?
While we're talking, let's play some of that clip.
He's had a PR problem for a decade, and he doesn't give a shit. And so,
I don't think you realize how
honestly.
important the Epstein issue is to the American people.
Well, I think it is important myself, but if they're prioritizing it over, especially right now, what's going on in Texas, or even over the implications of FDR, JFK and RFK and Martin Luther King, then I think the priorities are off.
That's not the issue. The issue is how he talked with it. People have been patiently waiting. People have been every now and then it comes up again, like, hey, are we ever going to see this?
They've been patiently waiting for JFK and RFK for 60 plus years. They're going to wait a little longer.
I can't believe you're comparing these two. A nation that is okay with sitting on our hands while children are being sex trafficked is despicable.
They're not okay, and they're not currently being sex trafficked by Epstein and those people. They are by illegals who Trump is taking care of right now.
My response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. and the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide.
So that video didn't show Donald Trump speaking on it.
Right.
Yeah, I heard what he said.
Oh,
Yeah, but it was a clip that I had put out just to show the audience exactly what she said in that moment. So she clarified what she said on the February 21st interview that she gave on Fox that got huge buzz, because she kept saying the files are on my desk. She clarified that in that press briefing, and Donald Trump gave her the opportunity to clarify herself or her statement with that press briefing. And then she said there was a lot of child pornography that we could not, reveal. Obviously, it's illegal. Like I said, I think there's a lot of stuff that we don't know. President Trump is not going to tell, everyone in the world what's going on. He's got his staff with him. He's got Pam Bondi, he's got Cash. And I said this to people on X. I'll say this on the broadcast. I know a lot of people are calling for Pam Bondi's resignation, but at the end of the day, President Trump controls her fate. President Trump will decide if she stays or if she goes. It's not, the American people can say she needs to resign, but at the end of the day, it's President Trump's decision.
And Elena, I'm with you. Anybody hurts a child, I'll kill him with my bare hands myself. It's just, I don't know. When I said I don't know at this point, I really don't know, because I didn't like how Trump dismissed it.
But I know how Trump spoke about it. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I didn't like how he spoke about it, but he just dismissed it, move on, whatever his reasons were. I don't know what to believe. You can go deeper down the rabbit hole, this and that, and be mad at what he said, and I was mad at what he said as well, how he handled it. But where to go from here? I think that if he's using it against other countries, and that Epstein was an agent in a foreign nation or our nation, even if it was and he uses his leverage, I don't think he's ever going to come out and say it either. But yeah, it's a screwed up situation.
Well, there are facts that Epstein did work for U.S. intelligence agencies, and he did work with the Mossad, which is the Israeli CIA and FBI. So those agencies, they do protect their own. And, when crap hits the fan, that's why things go away. So when Epstein died, a lot of stuff died with him. The person that really can, talk, and she's not going to because she was trained by the Mossad not to, is his partner, Ghislaine Maxwell. And that's the truth. So she's going to sit in jail and she's going to shut her mouth for 20 years or whatever her sentence is. And we won't get a lot from her because she was trained not to say anything.
I'm just going to say that, I will give anybody the benefit of the doubt one time. And I'm willing to say maybe there's something in the works here and he's going to spring something here in the next couple of weeks. But if it drags on for months and months and months, and this was the final say on that, that's really going to sour a lot for me. All right, I got to get a refill again. I told you I'm on a chocolate milk kick. I drank that whole damn cup.
Oh.
I know. I don't know what it is. So we're going to pay the bills again real quick. I'm going to go get some more chocolate milk that does not come from a brown cow, and we will be right back.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
I'll tell you one thing. I know I'm not lactose intolerant because it was a major concern for me for a while, but it's not anymore. All right, so wow, maybe too much milk.
Got milk?
It's all running right down his leg and out his foot.
It probably is leaking out of my foot right now. So the next segment's about America and Israel, kind of like cementing that bond they have, which is a good thing because, like I've always said, Israel's our only ally in the Middle East that we can depend on. Other nations come and go and promise us this and promise us that, and do stuff that completely obliterates any chance of it. And we keep giving them more chances. But Israel's been steadfast. They've never done anything to us that we would consider untoward. And I've been to Israel. I was in the Navy. Great people, nice country. I never felt weird or threatened at all. But we did have to travel in packs, not because of the Israelis, but because of the idiots that get into Israel and try to do things. So we couldn't travel alone, couldn't be in uniform, things like that, which is fine because I don't want to be overseas in a uniform anyway, because that just makes you stand out, and sometimes it's not good to stand out. So I guess with Iran, I think that kind of really super glued us with Israel. I think that kind of put us together. That's undeniable now that we will defend Israel, and Israel can depend on us. So I guess the question is, does that set us up for anything bad in the future because of that, or are we good? What do you think, Elena?
I'm sorry. Just go to somebody else for a second. Sorry about that. I got distracted. Sorry.
Okay. Well, so a couple things, and I'll try to keep it brief on this. But implementing, the ceasefire, was, people didn't think that was going to happen. What Trump did with the B-52s going in there and bombing the 3 biggest main nuclear facilities in Iran was huge. And we see the love and support that Israel has given to President Trump and to the United States, and Netanyahu was recently just in D.C. At the Oval Office, and he had dinner with the president, and Mike Huckabee was there, who's the new ambassador to Israel. He actually went to the Nobel Peace Committee, and he nominated President Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize for bringing peace to the Middle East. So,
yeah, we got that clip. Let's play that clip while we're talking.
And we're going to have a lot of great results. So it's great to have you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I want to express the appreciation and admiration, not only of all Israelis, but of the Jewish people, and many, many admirers around the world for your leadership of the free world, your leadership of a just cause, and the pursuit of peace and security, which you are leading in many lands, but now especially in the Middle East. We have great opportunities. The President has an extraordinary team, and I think our teams together make an extraordinary combination to meet challenges and seize opportunities. But the President has already realized great opportunities. He forged the Abraham Accords. He's forging peace as we speak in one country, in one region after the other. So I want to present to you, Mr. President, the letter I sent to the Nobel Prize Committee. It's nominating you for the Peace Prize, which is well-deserved, and you should get it.
Thank you very much. This I didn't know. Wow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coming from you in particular, this is very meaningful. Thank you very much, baby.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you. It's a great honor.
Yeah, so that was historic. It was such a beautiful moment. And the fact that President Trump didn't know that was going to happen was great. But, one of the biggest things that Netanyahu and Trump are working on is expansion of the Abraham Accords. That's the biggest thing. And that is what brought peace in the Middle East when President Trump was the president in 2017, 2018. And that is really the biggest focus here. That was the biggest focus when President Trump went to UAE and Qatar and the other countries. I know they're working on Saudi Arabia. I know they're next on the list. They're working on Azerbaijan. They're working on Syria. They're working with the head of ISIS. They're working with the heads of Lebanon, not Hezbollah, because they're destroyed. But, people that want to get rid of the terrorist regimes out of their countries. Under Trump in 2017, 2018, the Taliban was low. Al-Aqsa's Martyr Brigade was low. Terrorism was low in the Middle East. So when Bibi and Netanyahu worked on this with Jared Kushner and Jason Greenblatt and so forth, it was a way to bring peace into the Middle East. And a lot more Arab nations actually support Israel than meets the eye. Again, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but I can tell you a lot of these Arab nations do support more of bringing peace to the Middle East, getting rid of the terrorists that are involved in these countries. So I believe that if Israel and America continues this peace, which I believe will be continued. That's why it was so important to bring Trump back in. That's why it's so important to keep Netanyahu in. The more that we have this piece together and expand the Abraham Accords, in my opinion, the countries will not, the treaties won't break. We saw that the treaties won't break, but it will continue reducing the terrorist regimes that are in a lot of these Arab nations.
Are you ready, Elena?
Yeah.
She was thinking about Jeffrey Epstein, everybody.
I know, just sitting here stewing. It's okay. No, what I'd like to say is this Donald Trump potentially winning the Nobel Prize for or being nominated is a good thing, but him potentially winning it for all the reasons that you just discussed would re-legitimize the Nobel Prize for me. He has done more to intelligently and strategically work for peace and avoid wars than any president in my lifetime. I mean, and we all know that back when Barack Obama was nominated and ultimately received the Nobel Prize, I believe he had been nominated for it during his first week of his first term, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And it
DEI
was
nominee. Sorry.
right. What's that?
Sorry, DEI nominee.
Yeah, it was like, and he was nominated for his vision, like his good ideas, and and for making such a big splash on the scene. I mean, it was absolute horseshit, if you will. And I never really paid attention to the Nobel organization after that. Not that I was like super involved before. I mean, if I'm being honest, but after that, I was like, I didn't care about it at all. And so to see Donald Trump, who actually has done so much, win it would be pretty cool for us as a nation, and certainly for him.
An F you to Obama.
What
Yes.
about you, Scott?
What a stark contrast between Trump and Obama, as well as Biden. I mean, in Biden's second term, he meddled in the Israeli elections to try to thwart Netanyahu. He had John Kerry in the last few weeks of the second administration have us abstain in a UN vote that was condemning Israel, where that vote against the condemnation would have mattered, at least figuratively. I mean, who cares really what the UN thinks anyway? But Trump is showing no moral ambiguity and where we stand, not only to the woke left and the woke right, as far as anti-Semitism and Israel. And I agree, this kind of restores a little bit of credibility to the Nobel if they give it to him. In some ways, it's probably better not to have it. I mean, if you're put up in the same category as Barack Obama or as Jimmy Carter for his one treaty and then became the biggest anti-Semitic piece of shit for the next several decades with his Peace Not Apartheid book and all of that racket of drawing moral equivalence to apartheid. And Arafat, I mean, that was one of the biggest jokes for receiving the Nobel Peace Prize. But liberals will try to spin this to find a dark cloud for every silver lining. Where the most important thing, too, is that Iranians will see this, and not just the radical ones, but the ones who are largely supportive of Israel, just as you mentioned. So many Arab countries as well are supportive of Israel, and more than you'd think. They're just afraid of the radical among them, and it may be a small percentage, but when it's 10 to 15% of a 1.4 billion population in this world, that's significant. And it only took 19 to take down towers. So it doesn't really take much, but it's a very strong example to the rest of the world as to where we stand. And if he doesn't get it, it may be just as strong a message. Not only it doesn't diminish in any way what Trump did, not just with Israel, but with India and Pakistan, with Rwanda and Congo, and with many more to come, and the other deals that he's working on. And he never said he would stop the war between Russia and Ukraine. He said negotiations would start on day one, and they did. And I have some faith that something lasting will come of that. So anyway, more victories, more winning.
Oh, Damon. Oh,
So, well, Seth, well, for one, with the Nobel Peace Prize, I'm glad he was nominated for that, but he'll never get it. I don't think they'll ever give it to him, even though he does deserve it. But back to your original question, Seth, after all this is happening, do you think that what was it that we will pay some type of price from some faction somewhere will hurt America in some way? For the most part, no, but there will be some small faction out there that will come after anybody, America, Israel. It's going to happen. There's going to be some type of tragedy that happens over it, but for the overall, it's for the overall good. So it was the right move, no matter what. I mean, they're our ally, yes, but in a small part, will we get attacked here and there? Will they get attacked, or someone else gets in line with someone else that Trump brings together to the table get attacked? Yeah, there's always going to be something bad that happens out of someone that tries to create something for the greater good. And I think that Trump is trying to do that. He's not, president for war. He wants peace. He likes to build, and people that like to build things, they typically want to move forward and build. They don't like to tear things down. So they want to make deals with people and broker different peace obligations. And you see Trump getting attacked because he's making deals with other countries, like Qatar and stuff like that. I wasn't so sure about that. Still not actually, because I don't trust them so much. But he's looking to build up those nations and keep Israel safe at the same time, and basically make everybody better. Yeah, I know he's going to make America great again kick, which he definitely is and definitely should be, and stick to that first. But I think he typically I think he's on the side of life, and he doesn't like the dying. He says it all the time. He says there's too many people dying over there in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia, and I think it was very hard for him to send them more defense missiles and stuff like that, especially because he wants the war to end, but Putin won't do it. So he's got to figure it out. But I think, yeah, there's always going to be some bad that comes out of the greater good, but hopefully the greater good, is for a reason, and it doesn't take down one little bad faction doesn't take down all the great accomplishments that we're all trying to make.
I agree.
I agree with you on the on showing that nothing's going to happen bad because of this. More bad would happen by not showing the strength of not only the United States but of our alliances, and showcasing that as we did with our 1-2 punch with Israel and us a couple of weeks ago, but showing further solidification of that's the long road that we're taking is only going to be a force of deterrence for those who would try to exploit any chinks in the armor.
Yeah, peace through strength. Reagan was my favorite president, other than Trump. He might be taking over for that soon, but that we're alive in my lifetime, I would say. But yes, I'm just saying there's always going to be something small, that bad that happens. But for the greater good, yeah, peace through strength, make the alliances build.
I think it's going to be a good thing, but Scott just said there's 15% that are radicalized. So you're looking at about 15, maybe 8 to 9 million people in this world who want to go get 42 virgins. You are never going to stop them until you kill them. Until they are dead, they are a threat. Until you kill them, they are going to plot. And that many people can do a lot of damage. And it's obvious they don't need a country to help them. All they need is some like-minded people, 15 with a goal, and you can't stop them. I'm glad he's making peace. It's going to be a good thing, but to think that something bad, major, is not going to happen again because of this is magical thinking. It doesn't.
Not because of this. They don't need a reason, first of all, but less will happen. The peace through strength is not just our individual strength, but our collective strength with our allies, and less will happen with display of that strength than
No, if I think God's on my side, I don't care what you say or who's on your side. God's on my side.
Do it anyway.
I'm going to kill you because my God tells me I can. You are not going to stop me. I will kill as many as you as I can before you get me. That's what we're fighting.
Well, we're certainly not going to stop you with people that say we're being dragged into an endless war when they don't understand that the endless war is what these people
I get that. But what I'm saying is we have to be realistic. These people firmly wholeheartedly believe God is with them. Their God is right next to them.
Right, but they're going to do that anyway. It's not going to happen because we displayed strength.
It'll happen because they're going to take that as a slight against their God.
They do it. Our
That's
presence
what I mean.
is the fact that we exist as Americans.
That's what I mean.
Jews
This is a good thing, but it's not going to change anything in the grand scheme of the big picture. These people are still going to try to kill us. We can all have a freedom cake and jump around in it and hold hands and sing songs. They will be plotting. They will be planning. And the second they can take out another 3,000 people, you bet your ass they're going to jump on that and they're going to take out 3,000 people. We just can't think, hey, we've got a plan. We got this peace thing going now. We're all good. It ain't good until they're all dead. And that may be a harsh thing to say. Until they are all dead, there will never be a minute where we should not be concerned what they're plotting or what they're planning. Or more importantly, why are they so quiet now? What are they doing that's keeping them quiet? It ain't us. Because like I said, God's on their side. They don't care about us. So why are they quiet? What are they doing in this quiet? What are they doing in this silence? That's all I'm saying. I mean, it's a good thing. I hope he gets the peace thing. I hope the Nobel Prize. That'd be awesome. But we just can't sit back and go, okay, that's over. We're good now. Now we all can just get along and have.
You're right, Seth. I know. We got to end the segment, so I won't even ask you to answer this. But I'm just going to throw it out there. Who decides to kill them all? And then what happens? Is it all the adults that think that way? I know. I agree with the way you're thinking about. We have to cut out the evil, but then they have children, and then when does it stop? The children grow up and they think the same thing, and they kill us. Kill Americans, and then the American children grow up the same way, want to kill them. So where does it stop? Just think about it, because it's a good conversation. I don't know the answer.
It never stops. We can't
extinguish.
We cannot extinguish evil. It is not up to us to do that.
Yeah, that's my point. It's just you have to be a better person, and you have to keep it at bay and just keep it down, because it's always going to rear its ugly head. And I get what you're saying, and I'm very passionate about it. I just was saying, think about it, like who decides we got to wipe out this entire population, but you can't do that, But you can. But even if you were to kill all the fathers,
he's talking about the radicals.
No. When I say population,
I didn't say you shouldn't. I'm saying you can't. You can kill them all, and you can't kill the evil. It's coming.
When I said population, I meant the population of radicals. I didn't mean the population like that. Sorry.
All you can hope for is
Golda Meir said that the war with them will end when they learn to love their children more than they hate ours.
Maybe they'll somewhere down the road they're going to have some religious awakening, and some leader will come and go, look, we've got this all wrong. Allah meant this. We've been misinterpreting this. We've got to start doing it this way. Who knows? They'd probably kill him too, but there's no way to kill it and stop it. Like Elena said, it will continue. We could kill every single radicalized Muslim in the world, and it's still going to be there. Somewhere it's going to pop up again. All I'm saying is it's great. I hope it works out. I hope he gets the Nobel Prize. But that doesn't mean we start leaving our doors unlocked and walking around with blinders on. That doesn't change reality. All right, we got to do one more break, and then we're coming back. I am not getting any more milk, because I think if I drank any more milk, this show would end now. So no more milk, and we'll be back in a minute.
You're not lactose intolerant.
I'm going to be. It's going to end up that way. I keep drinking the milk.
Lactate, man. Ugh. Do a commercial for Lactate. Get them as a sponsor.
I could.
There you go.
Watching me drink all that milk, they're probably like, damn, you're not dead yet? Christ. All right, so we'll do the last commercial, and then we'll commercial whatever it's called, spot, whatever.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up, because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
Yeah, I'm off milk for the night. I'm done. No more milk.
See
Man,
the withdrawal happening already.
I got the shakes.
Oh no! Oh my, that's funny. I heard the dog.
I'm like a punching bag. I beat myself up to make fun of it.
I have 3 beagles. Sorry.
I got problems. I got lots of problems. That could be a whole show. The problems Seth has. We could do a week's show on that one.
Well, you did a whole show about your foot, you know?
We did. I did do half a show on my foot. I had some nice pictures, some really juicy pictures. It was pretty good.
That was awesome.
I liked it. Maybe I'll do one with my foot now, so you can just.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah, so you can do the process.
Well, actually, if you could do a time-lapsed video,
I could.
you probably have a lot
Before
of
and
photos.
after.
Yes.
Yeah,
like-
pictures. What I did, I went to the hospital. Pictures of when I was in the hospital, and the pictures after each surgery, so I could just.
Actually, can you please do that? Yes.
I will, and I'll send it to you, just to you. I'll autograph it or something. I don't know. All right, so we're in our last segment. And I know everybody's upset about that because, heck, it's fun. What we're going to talk about now is the elections. People are starting to ramp up about who wants to run, getting involved. People, I don't think so much right now people are picking sides yet. I think it's kind of early because we don't know who's going to jump in. Because honestly, I'm thinking about jumping in a local election just because the person who I'm running against, I don't think anybody's come out against yet, and I don't want her just to run unopposed. So if I run, it's just so she has to spend money. But I'm going to wait because I know I'll lose. I will get spanked. But our own Tim Fazenbaker is running for council, right? For his account in his district.
Yeah. So he's currently elected official now, but he's running for Baltimore County Council in District 9. So the council was 7 people, and they're expanding it from 7 to 9. And the issue now is the redistricting map. What is his district going to be? So far, his district is his base. It's all of Dundalk, it's Edgemere, and it's Sparrows Point. He lives in Sparrows Point. But of course, the Rhino establishment wants to throw Rhino at him to run against him. And the guy is a total Rhino, Larry Hoganite, loves Westmore, loves Chris Van Hollen. And he actually said that he is for Pete Buttigieg for president in 2028. This is the guy who wants to run in a very conservative MAGA district. It's really Tim's to win. Tim will win his district.
Right.
But what this guy is trying to do, JD, is he's trying to gerrymander the district so that they put a little area where it will help JD and help, Hogan and help his buddies. So there's always politics in there. There's always somebody trying to screw the conservative MAGA guy over, but it's not going to happen this time. So that's kind of what this segment was about, is why are they pushing, rhinos in conservative MAGA districts? And this is Maryland, yes, we're talking about, but it happens, in conservative areas too. It happens in Florida as well, where I'm from and where Elena's from. And it's disgusting. It's, the people of Maryland, they rejected Larry Hogan for the United States Senate, the biggest rhino of all. Why does he continue? Why does Larry Hogan continue having his minions around him to push an agenda that was rejected in the general in 2024?
I'll tell you why. Because Republicans as a whole are spineless cowards that are more concerned about getting along than they are about being right, especially in Maryland. I am so fucking sick of hearing Larry Hogan's name. I could vomit. That fat bastard is, oh my God, I hate that.
That taco eating bastard. Get it right.
Wherever you look, you got Republicans there are Republicans who stand for what's right. They are far and few between now. What we have now are the cocktail party Republicans. They just want to get along. They want to be invited everywhere. They want to be in every picture they can get. They want to be on the news. They want everybody to like them. And that's how it's going. In my opinion, the Republican Party needs to be burnt to the ground. The earth needs to be salted and then build it back up with the right people. Because the way it is now, we're going to be hard-pressed to win anything. We don't fight back. We sit back and let people beat on us because we don't want to be that person. Ignore it. They'll go away. And that's why we had the borders the way it is, because nobody wanted to fight Biden when it was going on. Or not enough people wanted to fight Biden. We got this shit going on across the country, people fighting cops and all that, because nobody back then, when we could have stopped it, wanted to stop it because they would have had to been loud. And no Republican wants to be loud. They don't want to be on the news looking loud. I'm so sick of Republicans in general. And I don't want any nasty emails. Well, you're not a Republican. Yeah. Shut up. Just shut up. They know I'm right, because you can just look at what's in Congress now. It's a bunch of spineless turds. For the most part, it's like jellyfish. Okay, I'm done. All right, so we'll start with you, Damon. What do you think about the Republican Party? Why can't we get good, solid conservatives to run anymore? Why is it hard to do that?
Number one, I'll go with Alexandra, since you mentioned them as rhinos. Rhinos are Republican in name only, so they're not real Republicans. So when you're saying that Republicans should do this, that, and the other, and anybody wants to give you email, say you're not a Republican, the people that are attacking you, I would say, Seth isn't really talking about true grassroots Republicans. He's talking about rhinos that should not be Republicans. So right there, I had a lot of experience dealing with that, and here in my counties that I ran for as well. But I mean, the only way you can change it is keep trying it and keep trying it different ways, and expose the same people. And you say, why, Alexandra, you said, why do they keep pushing their agenda? Why? Because they're Republicans in name only. They're not Republicans. That's why. They're afraid of somebody like Tim. They're afraid of somebody that is a grassroots Republican and stands for what he stands for. And he has probably no special interest. He's not tied to anybody. He's not. Yeah, that's probably exactly why.
He is not bought and paid for.
Yeah. So any Republican tied to some special interest that wants to hold another Republican down is a rhino. So, I mean, maybe they still have conservative views, but they're still a rhino. But that's the same thing with Democrats and everything else. A lot of people that are elected to office, and they get there how? They get there because they align with different people. They sell out here and there, and they don't stand for what's right 100% of the time. They might have that idea when they get in, but when they get in, they realize, I got to get reelected. So I have to dial this back here, and I have to appease this person. If I go against this person, I won't get the votes. I won't get the money funneled in my campaign. But if you stand true and firm the entire time, you're going to be attacked by so many people. And
what I find disgusting about what's going on with Tim's district is that it's such a conservative MAGA district. For them to have the audacity to even consider pushing a rhino in his district is so disgusting. It goes against the will of the people. It goes against all of Tim's constituents, which I know all of them. They don't want this. So why are they trying to push this through? That's what pisses Tim and I off every single day.
Scott?
No, I was just going to say the same reason why they still push their agenda on the entire country when the majority doesn't want it. That's the same reason, trying to infiltrate, change things.
No, Scott, you respond because you're up in Carroll County. You know what goes on.
Yeah, I ran for delegate 3 years ago, and for city council for Westminster a couple of years ago. And I was running against rhinos, and there's this apathy, there's a name recognition, there's a lack of voter turnout for particularly municipal elections of 6%. We have that again for mayor this go round. And the only thing I would caution is that sometimes it may not be someone's trying to get reelected. They may have one view that's maybe not as polarized as the opposite for the Democrat Party or as a liberal. And so, I'm sure that for something that I turn over every stone, somebody could have called me a rhino for. Nobody ever did. Maybe for certain things in my background for, environment. I'm not an environmentalist. I'm an environmental scientist. I have the background for it, and I prioritize human needs, and it's all balanced and that kind of thing. But I'm sure somebody can, you look at the Democrats too. I mean, they have people like, look at the excoriations that were given to Joe Lieberman about 20 years ago for being a hawk on the global war on terror. Or for Fetterman currently because he dissents on an issue or two. I don't think there are any less Democrats, and I think there's Republicans that do the same. Sometimes they're legitimately a rhino because they have so many issues that are off the beaten path of the party platform. And sometimes when it's somebody like John McCain, it just takes one, where you've made promises about voting against Obamacare, and then just because you got rabid TDS, you want to stick your finger in Trump's eye, you also do the same to your constituents and you vote yes on Obamacare. Yeah, legitimate rhino there. I would just say maybe there's gray areas, but try to define out what a rhino actually is, because any one of us could probably be called out on one issue or another by somebody who's so polar opposite. Maybe everyone likes to think their crosshairs are aligned, right? That they're centered, just like they like to think that their kids are cute or they have a good sense of humor, and that's not everybody can do that. I think I mentioned that once, but anyway, there is a problem with rhinos. There's a problem with Hogan. I'll never forgive him for what he did to a whole generation of kids in this state by the lockdowns and the mandates and locking up the well. And when I hear him say, "Wear the damn mask," I mean, maybe it's because I'm from New York and sometimes the Baltimore accent grates on me, but his really did, especially when he's telling has no scientific or medical background whatsoever, and he's telling people to wear the damn mask because he's just going along with that wave and what he thinks is popular and is going to piss off the least number of people, instead of that it pisses off the smart people and the right people and the people who he claims to be in that party. He is no Republican for sure. And you got plenty of others, like, that's why Obama won twice, because we had weak candidates there. And it's unfortunate that we didn't have Dan Cox prevail against Wes Moore, but he was running against a Hoganite. They came out, and Hogan and others came out and supported her. I don't think she would have won, and I don't think we would have been much better off than we are with Wes Moore if she would have won anyway.
All right, we're running low.
But they'll do it again. They'll double down, and Hogan's doubling down. He wants to come back, in one way, shape, or form. I thought we were done hearing from him after the bunker busters. Like, I thought he did really well with that, taking out the Iranian nuclear facility when he fell on it with Stacey Abrams and others. But he's still around.
Elena, let's give you the last word because we are running low on time.
Yeah, I would find it interesting if somewhere there was somebody who could really investigate these GOPs in the GOP in states like Maryland and in Massachusetts, where they are extremely weak. Rhinos for days, all of them. They nominate rhinos. And I would like to see if these rhinos are truly not just real rhinos, but plants from the Democrat Party. Remember, they were very public about it during the election, during primary season, switching their party to Republicans, vote in the primaries. I mean, they have no problem being unscrupulous. It would not surprise me at all if they have, actors coming in and convincing people to help give them a part as a Republican politician. So anyway, I don't know who's got time for that.
No, I agree with you on that.
Oh, I agree too. Well, we're almost at that magic time where it's time for me to get to try to pass out because I'm drunk with milk.
You're like a baby.
I know. I'm going to just fall asleep with my thumb in my mouth. I want to thank everybody for being here.
You need to be
no, that would be horrible. Especially right now. That would be like, oh my God. So before we go, let's start with Damon. Talk about your podcast real quick and anything going on for you. Let people know where to see you.
I have the Jersey Shore podcast. Airs on Monday nights at 8 p.m. On this network. Like everything you see on the bottom going across, it has it all in there. The radio show 92.1 WVLT. That is on Thursdays at 5 p.m. And if you want to listen and you're not local, then you can go on their Facebook page on, again, Cruise 92.1 WVLT. And it also airs on this network as well. And so that's about it. So for right now, got a lot of other stuff going on, and we're going to keep going. And obviously, you can see me on the Pulse and all the other great podcasters.
Cool. Elena, real quick, where can they see you or follow you? Or
you can find me on all the usual socials at The Based Mother. That's my handle. Thanks for having me tonight.
Oh, anytime. And Scott, anything? Anywhere they can see you, follow you, watch you?
They can follow my Lieutenant Colonel Scott Willens Against Anti-Semitism Facebook page, my Animal Hospitals Neighborhood Veterinary Associates. I keep the politics off of there, obviously, as well as with Weird Science Band Maryland. But Weird Science does do a lot of charity work for military charities, including Freedom Alliance, Happy Hubs, and Carroll County Veteran Independence Project. We got a big concert coming up on November 15th at X Golf in Eldersburg. More information on that forthcoming.
Cool. And last but not least, my fellow tribesmen.
Well, thanks everybody.
Me too. I
Yeah,
got
yeah,
another
Scott.
tribesman. I got 2 tribesmen. That's
And we
right.
got Tim Fazenbaker, another tribesman. You got so many
So-
Jews on this network. I
We're
love
gonna
it.
start our own tribe.
We should start our own tribe. So my show is Alexandra Levine Live, Tuesdays and Thursday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. Also, I'm on the Pulse, and of course, I'm the White House correspondent for this network. I will keep everybody abreast of what's going on at the White House and so forth from there. And I am going to pop into him a little bit because as his political consultant, I do work with him. And please, guys, please go to timfazenmaker.com, and donate to him. He's running for Baltimore County Council, District 9, as the conservative MAGA Republican, the only conservative of that district. Please, guys, and you can follow Tim at America One Tim Faze on X, at America One Tim Faze. Thanks, guys.
Cool deal. And I, of course, am the milk junkie, Seth Eisenberg, and I'm on the conservative corner on Sundays, and I'm here on Wednesdays. Man, way too much milk. And I don't know if y'all can see this. It's the Frederick County Conservative Club. I'm the vice president there. Fred Profiter, our president, is putting together a trip down to Texas to help out there. So if you go to fccc.us, that's the website for the Frederick County Conservative Club. You can kind of read about what we do. And if you want to help him put that trip together, you can donate some money. But he's leaving Friday. I believe like early Thursday morning, Friday. It's a 24-hour drive to get down there. He said, I've never driven to Texas. I've flown through it. And that's where he's heading. So if you want to help him out, again, it's fccc.us. You can help him out there. And I'm, like I said, I'm Sundays at 7 or yes, 7. See, too much milk. Sundays at 7 and Wednesdays at 8. You can see all of us here every Wednesday. Tim Fazenbaker usually here, but he had stuff to do tonight. And again, help support him. Even if you don't live in Maryland or live in Baltimore County, give him a hand. We need to start electing the most conservative candidates we can find, regardless of where you are in location to them. So yeah, keep that in mind.
People that Trump want to.
Yeah. And if you have a question for any of us that were on here, you can check us out on our web pages or X or Facebook and ask us whatever you want to ask us. Just make sure when you ask us, you're ready for the answer, because we're not going to bullshit you and you may not like the answer. And then again, that would be a you problem, not a me problem. So everybody, thanks for hanging out with us. Have a good week. It's hump day. So we got 2 more days and then we get off to relax and be lazy and do yard work and house stuff. So it's not really days off. It's just different work in a different place. You don't get paid for. So thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks for coming. And we will see you on our respective times, and we will see you all on Wednesday next week on the Pulse. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Leave.
Thanks, Seth, for hosting. Have a good night,
Don't
everyone.
forget to hump because it's hump day.
Why?
Sorry, I had to sneak that in. I'm sorry.
I have 2 kids. So they were
Oh, I'm sorry.
not that at all. Whatever.
It's usually me getting yelled at, so it's refreshing to see somebody else get in trouble. It's good night.
I could mean different things, not exactly what. Yeah, get your mind out of the gutter. Get your
We're
mind.
cutting that clip. We're cutting that clip, just so you know.
Heck
We use that
yes.
Just like the banana one.
Right.
We like
okay.
we got a couple more from clip. Oh man, we got.
I just want to
We'll
say
have
I
a-
did eat 2 bananas when I was away, and I thought of Elena. One was rotten.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
See, I think tell she's getting over that already.
I'm not gonna-
Everyone else has to screw up, so we're gonna cut yours. I'm sure I'm gonna say something very, very stupid. I probably already have. None of you are cutting yet. But,
I'm not going to touch the banana thing and thinking about Elena while you're eating them. I'm not even going to.
oh my god.
Even bring that up. All right, everybody. Have a good evening. We'll see you all Wednesday.
Oh my God. Okay. Bye.
Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country, America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.